Hey guys, this is Nick and welcome to my Linux experiment. Personal computing is slowly transitioning to web-based applications, like Electron apps or apps available in a web browser. While I'm not a big fan of this transition, it does mean that Linux is getting access to more and more applications, but for that, you need a web browser. And not all web browsers are created equal, because some of them offer more than others. Do you know who offers more than other websites though? Today's video sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community that gets you access to thousands of classes to learn a new skill, master a new hobby, or just improve on something that you already know, real-world skills or otherwise. Learning about Linux, for example, is easy thanks to a bunch of courses on improving your skills on the command line, becoming a sysadmin, or just generally learning more about Linux's internals. Personally, I'm taking these classes on color correction in DaVinci Resolve. Skillshare is affordable with free account creation and your access to Skillshare Premium being only $8 a month. This gives you access to all the chapters in all the classes and offline viewing. Now, the first 1,000 subscribers that click the link in the description below will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium, so head over there and start learning. Okay, so Linux has no shortage of web browsers. There are plenty of options. We'll take a look at a few of them here. There's going to be Firefox for the most open web respecting browser, there's going to be Epiphany for native GTK browsing, and there's going to be Chromium as it's the base for most other web browsers out there. Now you can assume that Falcon, the KDE web browser, will get mostly the same performance as Epiphany as they're using the same rendering engine, WebKit. And you can also assume that most Chromium-based browsers will get the same performance as Chromium, in benchmarks at least, because they use the same rendering engine and only tweak the features. So don't worry, we'll also discuss the features of Vivaldi, of Brave, of Opera, of Edge. A lot of other browsers will be discussed here. Okay, let's start with performance. For this, we'll use BrowserBench. It's a suite of 3 tools measuring performance in JavaScript, rendering, graphics, WebGL, WebAssembly, you name it. It's just a synthetic benchmark and it's just going to give you numbers, but that's going to be a good proxy for how each browser looks and feels in real-world use. Or at least that's what I thought going in this test. I ran all benchmarks on the same Ryzen 5 desktop with only the browser window opened, no other tabs, so the testing conditions are exactly the same. You can also assume that all Chromium web browsers have the same exact results. I actually ran the test, they have the same results in a very pocket-sized margin, so I'm not going to include them all in the results. We'll discuss their features though. So in terms of speed, with the speedometer test, we see these results. Chromium takes the lead at almost 100 runs of the test per minute, with Epiphany close behind it and Firefox lagging behind the two. In terms of JavaScript and WebAssembly with the Jetstream 2 benchmark, we see that Chromium annihilates Firefox by 35%, and Epiphany can't even complete the benchmark as it crashes before the end and can't get to the final score. For graphics performance using the MotionMark test, the difference is staggering. MotionMark measures SVG drawing performance, as well as canvas and CSS transforms. Chrome here has more than 8 times the score of Firefox, and more than 2.5 times the performance of Epiphany. Okay, so we can definitely see that in terms of performance, in synthetic benchmarks, Chromium completely destroys the other two browsers. We're not talking 2 to 3% that could be due to optimization for this specific benchmark. Here, it can be up to 8 times better scores, and this is really surprising to me. Now, Chromium is in a completely different league with this benchmark than Firefox or Epiphany, and it surprised me so much that I even decided to rerun the benchmarks on Firefox 3 more times to see if it changed anything, but it didn't. I even ran the exact same benchmark on a completely new profile on an unthemed Flatpak version of Firefox, and it didn't change anything. The results are there, and I know it's just synthetic benchmarks, it doesn't mean the world, but it's still weird to me. And since I'm a complete Firefox fanboy, I tried to game this video here and I decided I was also going to run Mozilla's own JavaScript Kraken benchmark. And I got played. Yep, Firefox even loses on that one to Chrome, and both lose to Epiphany. This is weird. Now, since I am super biased in favor of Firefox, I even tried to give it an edge by running the HTML5 compatibility test. I thought Firefox would destroy the other ones. But no, it even lost to Chrome here, which is baffling to me. So I know, this is all browser benchmarks and tests, and it doesn't represent the real-world performance. And I must say that in real use, even though I am a complete Firefox fanboy, Firefox doesn't feel that slower than Chromium. It definitely feels slower on some websites, but it doesn't feel that much slower, and definitely not 8 times slower. And Epiphany definitely feels a lot slower than Firefox or Chromium in real-world use, even though it tends to win some benchmarks over Firefox. So yeah, it's not a perfectly accurate representation of real life, but still, it still measures performance. So to conclude on the performance topic, on Linux, if you want the best performance, you're going to go with a Chromium-based browser, either Chromium or any of the other ones that we're going to discuss later. This is just a fact. Now let's move on to the features and let's introduce some other browsers. So let's start with Epiphany. As a native GTK web browser, Epiphany isn't the most loaded browser ever. You get the obvious tabs, bookmarks, search engine selection, an integrated ad and pop-up blocker, intelligent tracking prevention, and syncing with a Firefox account if you want to carry all of your browser data and passwords to another computer that can't run Epiphany or on your phone. You also get the obligatory incognito mode. Apart from that, it's a bare-bones experience, no wide extension support for now, no themes, basic developer tools, and a slow update cycle with a new major version generally releasing with each new GNOME version every 6 months. Firefox is more of a middle ground. On top of the basics, it adds a protections dashboard, letting you know what the various blockers actually, well, blocked, but it can also show you if some of your passwords have been hacked. It has a big library of extensions that you can use, including way more powerful ad blockers than what Epiphany offers, and full theming capabilities. It doesn't integrate all that well with Linux desktop though, not like Epiphany can GNOME or Falcon on KDE, but since you can theme it quite extensively thanks also to userchrome.css customization, it's possible to make it look and feel a bit more native. See here my Firefox browser looking pretty good with the Elementary OS 6 theme. Chromium, on the other hand, is just a debranded version of Chrome. So basically it's the exact same browser, complete with Google account login and all the bells and whistles. The only differences are that it lacks some codec support and doesn't restrict users to the Chrome Web Store extensions. Now speaking of extensions, Chromium has the biggest library out there thanks to the aforementioned Chrome Web Store. It's also not very well integrated with Linux desktops, although it can also be themed. So generally, Firefox and Chromium will be the best middle ground for most users and have general feature parity. But now we're gonna get into the realm of more crazy browsers based on Chromium, so let's take a look at what the offerings are. Brave is the most interesting. It's touted as a privacy-focused browser, and it ships with its own custom ad and tracker blockers. Its private browsing actually uses Store instead of just not saving your browsing history and cookies locally. It also includes something called Brave Rewards, which basically gives you crypto tokens if you accept to watch ads, and these tokens can be used to reward various creators. In theory, it's a good idea, but the fact that Brave blocks the ads on these creator websites by default and leaves the user to decide if their content is worth it or not might make some of you uncomfortable. I personally am, especially since not every creator can receive Brave tokens, and if you don't want to be part of their program, well basically you're not getting any revenue for your work. Brave touts faster speeds, but in my experience it's only due to the default ad blocker. Add one to Chromium and you get the same speeds. Now we also have Vivaldi, which also has tracking and ad blocking out of the box, user account syncing, but also goes crazier with the features. You can stack tabs or open tabs side by side. Although I don't really see how that's more convenient than just having 2 browser tabs opened in 2 various windows that you can just snap to the various edges of your screen. Vivaldi also uses a sidebar that lets you access some features like the download manager, bookmarks, history, a note-taking application, and some website shortcuts. As all Chromium-based browsers, it supports the extensions from the Chrome Web Store, and it even lets you tweak the keyboard shortcuts. So Vivaldi is basically the browser you might want if you spend your whole day inside a web browser and you really want to tweak how it works to ensure that you're the most productive in it. Neither Vivaldi or Brave look native. Like, at all. The window controls, menus, settings, nothing looks right here, whatever your desktop environment. Vivaldi is the worst offender here by default, as it doesn't even respect your window button placement. There is a lot of work to be done here, guys, to make these browsers more integrated citizens in the Linux desktop. You also have access to Opera and Edge, but Microsoft Edge is still in developer beta, and the main reason you might want to use it, which is its integration with your Microsoft account, is not even implemented yet. Opera, on the other hand, is a box standard Chromium browser with a specific theme, a VPN integrated, as well as a crypto wallet. Nothing spectacular, and the both of them look utterly alien on any Linux desktop. I feel like for most people, Chromium or Chrome or Firefox will be the best middle ground over there without too many crazy, not fantastically useful features and great performance. Now for the crazier ones who really need to tweak everything, they might want to go with Vivaldi, and the ones that really want a super privacy-respecting browser will want to head up over to Brave, although I feel that Firefox has the exact same native protections, and if you add a few extensions to Chromium, you'll get the same result with the same performance and the same privacy settings, without the, in my opinion, kinda scummy practices of the Brave rewards. Okay, so the feature set is a matter of personal need and preference, as is the integration with the Linux desktop. So basically, your choice between Epiphany, Firefox, Chromium, or any other browser is a personal choice on what features do you really need. But there's another issue that might make you want to prefer to use Firefox instead, and this is browser engine monopoly. See, these browsers don't use the same engines. Firefox uses its own Gecko Quantum engine, Epiphany uses WebKit, which is the same engine as Apple's Safari uses, and Chromium and all other Chromium browsers use Blink. Blink is Google's fork of WebKit, and it's an open source project, but it is firmly under the control of Google. This means that Google can push any technology inside their browser engine that they want, and as such, they can push any specific thing that favors their other business models. So ad support, tracking support, or just the AMP page standard that they're trying to push, everything is integrated and is here to be pushed by Google afterwards, and enforced, their use are enforced by Google. This is an issue to me, because it means that you don't have complete control over how your browser works, and if a new, better technology that undermines Google's model emerges, they're just not gonna use it. No way. So basically they're going to stifle innovation and competition in the browser space to keep their other business models alive. And this is a problem to me. This is why I never use any Chromium-based browsers in my day-to-day life, apart from testing the website I work on my day job, because let's be realistic, most users use Chrome and you need to test your website for Chrome as well. So basically, I'm trading off performance for a very personal ethical reason. But I'm starting to think that this trade-off might not be worth it anymore. What do you guys think? What browsers do you use? Let me know down there in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't hesitate to like or dislike if you didn't, and you can also subscribe and turn on notifications if you want to receive more videos like this one. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!